I just played the Ancient Gods Part 2, and I'm mad. Not because of the game, but because I had to re-record this like 5 times. Mainly because of technical difficulties. Then it was my pet parrot interrupting me. Then it was people interrupting me. Then it was... Okay, anyway. So time to review this DLC, because it was Doom, and you start off right where Tag 1 ended. You're dropped off at the World Spear, looking for a crystal to open the portal of the Voom, to go into Immora, the most ancient city of hell. As a level, I think it was pretty good actually. The fact that it looks nice, but it doesn't look like Doom. The color scheme is too green and too bright to be Doom. You know what I mean? You know, when you think Doom, you think like hell. It's like dark and lots of red and orange. Nope, it's like a forest. The new demons they introduce are pretty cool, I guess. The Screecher zombies are a demon that you don't want to kill. They buff enemies when they die, and the buff itself is actually pretty good. Like, the demons are like double the speed and double the health. The thing is, they never really use them that much. There's some arenas here and there, you know, they're pretty fun, but there's not enough. The Cyber Baron is another demon they added right after. Basically a normal Baron, but they have armor, and the armor is pretty cool because like you can't like do damage to them directly. You have to destroy the armor. Now they either do this like thing with the attack, just like the Marauder, or you can shoot with plasma, but it's gonna take a bit longer with plasma. Less skilled players, you can just use the plasma rifle, but for like players who are actually skilled and play the game a lot, you can quick scope his thing. The last one is the stone imps. They're not that big of a difference from other imps. They're just like really strong, except they're weak to full auto and micro missiles, and they also do the sonic attack. Last thing is like the new hammer. The hammer itself is extremely fun to use, but it's way too powerful. Not only does it shower you with ammo, but like it also basically allows you to stun lock demons. I just really like the weapon, but it's kinda annoying. It just makes everything extremely easy. In terms of platforming, they've added meat hook platforming, and I think the implementation of it is very good. They use it to like in between fights, and it just helps the pacing a lot. The escalations, which are introduced here, basically it's just a gore nest when you have one fight, and then there's a second one that's like slightly harder, but it's not that hard, and like it really should just have a third one that's really hard. Also, it buffs the hammer, which is not good because the hammer is overpowered. So it starts off with a demon that I extremely hate, the cursed prowler. Basically, they're just a regular prowler, but they're cursed, so they can curse you. When you're cursed, you get poisoned, you can't dash, you can barely jump, and you're slowed, and you have to hit him with a blood punch. And if you don't have one,
I guess you just have to be prepared to die.
See, the idea of an enemy that immobilizes you isn't bad. The execution here is not very good. It's horrible, actually. The problem here is that he can basically hit you from anywhere. You can be in the tightest corner of the map, and he would still hit you. Secondly, he sounds exactly like a regular prowler, so you can't really be prepared. Thirdly, his AI is kinda messed up. Sometimes he doesn't even attack you after he curses you, he just runs away. Sometimes he even runs out of bounds, and you can't actually hit him anymore. Aside from that, the liver is pretty similar to the World Spear. Has a similar color scheme, I feel. It also looks kind of like a Call of Duty map, but actually cool. Also, you've probably noticed this if you're playing the game here. Most of the arenas follow the same design. They're mostly just a box with some platforms and some enemies. There's not much thought into it. The thing is, it's fun to fight in them, but it's just the fact that the regular campaign had those kinds of arenas, but it also had much more open and complex arenas. The chain gunners, which I feel bad saying chain gunners, are such a disappointment. They're basically just plasma shield guys, but their shield is immune and you just have to do splash damage. First of all, the reason is they could just be their own enemy. They could be the riot shield zombie, but instead you decided to call them the chain gunners. The chain gunners in the original Doom are one of the hardest enemies because they come in packs and they're always hit scan. But in this DLC, then first of all, they're very weak. They die to one rocket. Secondly, they're not hit scan. And thirdly, they mainly come in groups of 2 or 3. There's only one encounter where there's more than 4 of them. When you start off Immora, you're definitely gonna get excited and hyped, because there's no way you don't when you see this. The arenas here are much better, I feel. They're less boxy, but they're still boxy in some areas. The one fight that I really liked is the escalation one. The double marauder fight as well. It's like there's like 2 screecher zombies and like the 2 marauders. It's very fun. But the bonking again, like you can just hammer and then done, stun locked, easy. There's no new enemies here except for hell guards, but they're not enemies, come on. They give you ammo on death and they die in 1 hit, and they basically do nothing, okay? I would say that the last arena with the stone imps is like very weird, because it's like the last line of defense for the Dark Lord. But then I realized actually pacing, you know, you don't want to have the hardest fight ever and then the Dark Lord. The Dark Lord himself as a boss is just kinda disappointing. Firstly, the arena is just a circle. It's like the gladiator one, except you can see the background and it looks cool. There's like nothing there. It's just you see him and then it's a circle with a bunch of other enemies that you can kill. Secondly, the boss himself is not designed badly, but his AI is sometimes just doesn't work. There's this weird thing where like he just doesn't do his attack. He just stay there far away, lobbing grenades at you. Then you realize it's been 30 minutes. You get aggressive and then the ending here is just, it was mixed for me, but it was more towards the good side. I like how when the Doomslayer's job is finished, he can rest. Like he just like falls to sleep, I guess. But at the same time, the explanation here is kind of stupid. Well, the lack of explanation is stupid because he just falls asleep. Doesn't seem like a very good story decision. The soundtrack. It's again composed by Andrew Holsworth and Dave Levy, and I don't really have much to say because I can't hear it most of the time. There's this weird mixing issue in the game where you can barely hear the soundtrack in some areas. Actually, I say in some areas, but it's in most areas. But from what I've heard, it's actually very good, I guess. Okay, there's some big negatives here. I have to address them, okay? First of all, why all the nerfs on the harder difficulties? The Arachnotron should not be nerfed on Ultra Violence and Nightmare, neither should the Archvile or most of the enemies. The Marauder especially, because now his AI is messed up sometimes and he just doesn't attack you at all. And secondly, the reskins, that's a very big problem. I know there were COVID restrictions, they couldn't do their job properly, but some of the enemy designs here are very lazy. For example, the Screecher zombie is just a purple zombie, and the Curse Prowler is just a green prowler. With the base game feeling like a 10 out of 10, and with this many negatives in this DLC, I think I should fairly give it a 7. And I'm being generous. It's just because I really love this game, so I can't give it less than a 7. I really think it's good, but it just could have been better.